Well, it's not quite a quiche, and it's not a frittata, but it's very good, and it's very simple, and it's also very special. Today we're going to be making Mary's zucchini frittata. It's a dish my mom used to make quite a bit when I was growing up, one I used to eat a lot, and one that she visits on when I make it. Because recipes are not just lists of ingredients and ways of doing things. They're not just something to eat either. They're memories. This is a great dish for brunch, or for snacking, or for sandwiches. Yeah, my mom used to slice it and put it into sandwiches. Anyway, this is not quite a quiche. Quiche has got cream and lots of cheese. It usually has a crust. And a frittata is obviously like a giant omelet. It's an Italian style omelet, right? It's either made on the stove or it's baked in the oven, but it's got a ton of eggs and usually a ton of Parmesan. They're both very good, but this one is sort of like, I don't know, it's sort of somewhere in the middle. My mom used to make this all the time because we always grew zucchini in the backyard. So if you want something that's simple and quick and really good, and I guarantee it, that whoever you give it to who hasn't had it before, and they probably haven't had it before because I'm just showing this to you now, they're gonna go, ooh, that's good. And when they do that, I'm gonna think of my mom going, Anyway, so we're gonna start with some zucchini. Gonna take 1.5 pounds of zucchini, usually about this size. And sometimes if you go to a farmer's market, you can get them really big. But if you do get those, just cut the seeds away from the inside because they tend to get firmer and harder and watery, right? So you can cut the flesh away from the seeds and use those. But you know, if you find zucchini like this or even a little bigger, it's perfectly fine. The first thing we need to do with them is to grate them. And I'm going to take out a towel. I'm not going to give them a bath. But what I am going to do is box grater over an impeccably clean towel. And the reason being, water is the enemy to this dish. There's a lot of water in zucchini. So what you want to do is grate all the zucchini into a towel. And what I'm doing is I'm starting at the bottom end and I'm grating towards the top end. I'm just sort of using that as a handle so I don't get all the way and, ow! I've done that. I know some of you have done that too. Doesn't feel very good. I remember when I was growing up, my aunt and uncle used to live in the back house and he had like a green hand. You know, I always used to say I could kill a silk plant. I still do actually. But I mean, he would just take like, I don't know, potato peels, just throw them, whatever he had in his hand, just throw it. Damn thing would grow. I was like, so how do you do that? Well, I just grow it. So this is 1.5 pounds of zucchini. And now watch this. So I want you to see how much water ends up coming out. Look at that. It's kind of a pretty color, but you don't want it in your frittata. You can probably get like 1/3 cup, which is quite a bit actually. Okay, and once the water is out, I'm gonna really get it out there. Squeeze! Look at that. That's like, yeah, it's about 1/3 cup of water, right? So once that's done, you got your zucchini right here, and it's ready to go. And that's what the zucchini ends up looking like, right? A little drier, and looks like a semi-truck ran over it. No, just kidding. What we're gonna do then is take 1 large onion. Now that I've made a mess, and I don't need that, and I want to get it off the board. Ta-da! Bed scraper! See, I'm not even using it for the actual food that I'm using. I don't really want that, so I'm taking it all off. I keep telling everybody, this thing is such an amazing tool. I love my bed scraper. So now what we want to do is finely chop the onion. And, you know, we've got Dan Basics video with onion coming out. This is another way of chopping onion. We cover like so many different ways of chopping onions. And this will give me a little over a cup. Usually a normal size onion will give you about a cup. This one is bigger, so it's going to give me more than that. But it's not going to give me that much more. And I kind of like onion anyway. So I'm just going to use the whole thing. If you don't like as much onion, you can just, you know, lessen it. Now, the only thing we need to do as part of this assembly, if you will, is to saute the onion. But what we're going to do first, before I head to the stove, is take some fresh basil. We want about a half cup. Now I have to tell you something about this recipe in this dish. My mom used to make this all the time, like I say. She never used a recipe. She just threw things together. And it pretty much always came out the same. Sometimes it didn't, but it didn't really matter because it was that dish, right? And she never wrote this recipe down. So, in fact, she never wrote anything down. So my best friend from childhood was asking about it. He says, oh, I haven't had your mom's frittata in so long. And I had to figure out from taste, from memory. See, here we go, memories. From memory, what my mom's frittata tasted like, what it smelled like, what the texture was like. And it took me, I don't know, 3 or 4 attempts, but I got it. So in essence, we're using my mom's recipe via me. And this is probably, I have to say, I mean, I still kind of futz a little bit with the onion or the garlic once in a while, but overall, I have to say, this is probably the only recipe, savory recipe, that I make where I stay to the recipe for the most part. And the only reason I do that is because if it doesn't taste that way, it's not my mom's. And I want my mom's. And that's what's so important about keeping recipes alive, right? Because as soon as I start making this, she's here. She's here with us right now. In fact, this is my mom. And that's my dad. And my dad ate everything my mom made and ate everything I made, even if it sucked. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because it is a special recipe. So we're going to put the basil in with the zucchini. I've got 10, that's a lot, I know, 10 extra large eggs. Now, if you want to use large, you can use large. I know there are people out there that use medium. I guess they still sell small eggs. I don't know. I don't even bother looking for small eggs, so I guess they still sell them. But if you want to use small eggs, you're probably going to have to use 24. But if you use large or extra large, it's fine. The difference really is about 1/4 ounce. So you know. So I'm just putting all 10 eggs in here. And yeah, I'm using 1 egg to crack the other. And I'm doing it over the bowl. I know, I'm risky. Then I've got 2 cups of freshly grated Asiago. If you're going to freshly grate your own cheese, whether it's Parmesan or anything hard cheese, you're going to get light flakes, okay? 6 ounces will give you 2 cups. If you buy pre-grated Parmesan or Asiago or a combination of Pecorino, you know, but all that stuff in the store, they don't really grate it. So you're not going to get these light flakes. You're going to get basically something that's been ground up. And it's going to weigh more for 2 ounces. I mean, 2 cups, sorry. So if you do use the pre-grated stuff, you can. Just make sure, you might want to weigh it 6 ounces because it can get a little cheesy. There's a joke there, but I'll let it slide. Anyway, I'm going to throw that in there. You remember Bisquick?
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Bisquick pancakes, stacking up golden brown.
My mom used to use Bisquick. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't use it though, so what I had to do was figure out how much Bisquick she used to put in it. So I've translated it to all-purpose flour. So I got a 3/4 cup of flour there. And because Bisquick, how can you say that 5 times real fast? Comes already with leavening in it. I have to add some leavening. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon. Salt. I'm using kosher salt again. So if you use sea salt or you use table salt, I wouldn't use table salt, but if you use sea salt, do a little less. I'm using kosher, so it looks like a ton, but it's really not. And I'm also using a whole teaspoon of black pepper. And then I'm gonna eye it. A 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. You can see why I'm saying it's not quite a quiche, because I'm not going to be adding any cream to it, but there is cheese and egg. And it's not quite a frittata because I've added flour and leavening, and frittatas don't have that. You want to give it a good mix. Let those flavors get to know each other for a little bit. Hey, Zucchini, how you doing? Oh, pretty good. Here's basil. And now what we're going to do is set that aside for a bit. And we need to, you can put this in here raw, but I wouldn't. We need to saute this up with some of the garlic. And then once that's done, we're going to dump that in there. And then we go to the next step. So let's go to the stove. Oh my God, I wish you guys could smell this. You got the garlic, the onion, the basil, the cheese. The whole house smells like this. Anyway, ta-da! Mary's zucchini frittata. I took it out maybe, I don't know, almost 10 minutes ago. And you can see that kind of springs back, just like a cake. It's still kind of hot, but I want you to see the bottom, nice and brown. You can serve this out of the oven, maybe set it, like I say, let it set for 10 minutes so that it doesn't fall apart. You can actually set it at room temperature, or you can serve it cold, but it doesn't have as much flavor. I like it at room temperature or relatively hot. So let's just cut into this thing, shall we? No, I'm not making 2 pieces. I just can't wait. I should probably let it wait a little bit longer, but what the hell. This will serve at least 3 people. Hopefully it doesn't stick. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? Right? With all the green flecks in there. Okay. Here we go. It feels like you're cutting through a quiche almost, really. Oh, it's hot. It's hot, but damn, that's good. My mom is in the kitchen. My mom is in the house. Anyway, you guys got to try this. Try the recipe as is, and then take it from there. You can tweak it and make it your own. But I'd love you to try my mom's frittata first. So subscribe, like, please, and the bell. I think it's over here again. I can never remember. There. And write in, because I'd love to hear from you. So until next time, I'm just going to keep eating. Damn, it's good.